please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Tonight is the Town of Plattsburgh's Town Board Monthly Meeting. Call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Michael Cashman.
Present.
Thomas Wood.
Here.
Barbara Hebert.
Here.
Charles Costick.
Here.
Dana Isabella.
Here.
James Coffey.
Here.
And I, Katie Fucci, am present.
Resolution 106, approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Resolved that the minutes of March 21st of 2024 and March 28th of 2024 be approved and the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Second.
Isabella, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Good evening, folks. Knowing that some of you may be here for the public comment as it relates to one particular item, I'd like to just state, if anyone's in attendance for the public comment portion of the agenda is planning to speak on the matter of the proposed zoning amendment, please note the following. We certainly welcome your comments, but request that they be kept to 5 minutes. Also note that no development project has been formally proposed or submitted for review at the locations considered for rezoning. Any future proposed development project at this location would require a complete site plan and environmental review by the planning board, which would also include public notices and meetings. The only merits of the zoning map amendment are under consideration at this time. At this time, I would welcome anybody from the public that would seek the floor. If you're looking to talk on another item, let us know and we'll make the deviation. So is there anyone seeking to provide any public comment? Come on up to the podium, please.
Good evening. My name is Jeffrey Barker and I reside at 4079 State Route 9, Plattsburgh. I am here tonight to address the town's intent to approve the Schluter System zoning amendment. What I have to state is relevant, material, and germane to said amendment. I have here a copy of the April 29, 2024 email document I sent to the board and the town attorney that I want to review, since the process appears to be rigorous and maybe be destined for court intervention if approved. Additionally, I have heard that Schluter has made its position known to the town and perhaps others that if the zoning for its expansion is not approved, they will move their entire operation to Texas. If true, this could be considered or construed as coercion and is another factor to reject the proposed zoning amendment. This may explain to a reasonable person or any tribunal why the town is proceeding in an improper direction. Now, for our stakeholders and partners, our residents of the whole town for this matter, I am going to read the 29th April email I sent addressed to Attorney Coffey and most of the board members that I had. So this letter is to bring to your attention what I believe is possible misapplication of New York law in the matter of the rezoning of portions of several parcels from R2 to industrial. According to a review and discussion should be, accordingly, a review and discussion should be undertaken prior to the vote scheduled for May 2nd, tonight. The record indicates that the town did not initiate this amendment on their own accord. Rather, it was from the special request of Schluter Systems Incorporated on or about March 16, 2024. This gives support to the position the amendment is to specifically benefit Schluter, which is in violation of New York law. 2, the town comprehensive plan on page 84 clearly indicates the following concerning land use, section 5.5, natural resources and open space. As discussed in section 3, this is a quote by the way, there is ample room for new development in the town. Under current zoning and at current rates of development, the town would be built out would not be built out for hundreds of years. There is sufficient land zoned for industrial and manufacturing uses, and there are robust commercial areas suitable for expansion. Why? Why are they doing this? Item 3, with respect to 2 above, the town is in error to rezone the subject parcels to appease a private industry, while an abundance of available land and suitable land is documented and directed to be used in lieu of rezoning. 4, the agenda for May 2nd, 2014 does not indicate that a protest petition was entered into the record in opposition to the subject amendment. It is my understanding that a majority of the property owners adjacent to or within 100 feet of the subject parcel signed said petition. This petition and the position of the residents are clearly being ignored by this board. 5, the following is from New York State Zoning and Comprehensive Plan. Actually, there's about 5 of these. I just stopped reading this document because I said, how can this town of Plattsburgh think they can get away with it? It just, you have a copy of this. It's, a lot of the people have it. I'm going to give you a copy, lady, miss, and I want it into the record because it's a shame what you are doing. Item 6, the town's position that, quote, it is the opinion of the members of the town board that the best interests of the town of Plattsburgh will be served by the adoption of certain said amendments, unquote. You need to justify this. I read this in the 3-page document you're voting on tonight. You should, because otherwise you'll have to go to a higher court and they'll look at the whole process, what you're doing here, and it's not right. And I think you all know it's not, and you're being strong-armed by Schluter. We don't have an unemployment, we have a housing problem. That R2 land should stay R2. I'm an outdoors guy, you could put, just leave it alone. Tell Schluter to go to the airbase, the county, airport, which I understand has PFOA problems. My house has contaminated water. I've been working with the Air Force for about, what, 8 years? They're taking care of me, but my water is poisoned. I'm not bitching, I'm not suing anybody, but you will be if you approve this. And by the way, my tax money has to pay you and all your salaries, and then we're going to have to hire an attorney to fight something you know you shouldn't be doing. Bad move. The above are just a few of the many legal citations that I read available, clearly indicating that the town of Plattsburgh is erring if it approves the subject rezoning amendment. It would be unjust and not responsible for the town to approve this amendment and then task the aggrieved landowners, all of us, the whole town will be aggrieved by this because you're exceeding the law, the guidance. And, well, go sue us if you don't like it. That is what I've had with your zoning, with the problems you're aware of at 40 South Junction Road that I've been fighting that parking lot and you ignored me. In fact, you sent me an email saying to investigate a zoning violation, you gotta have a warrant. A warrant to investigate a zoning violation? Then on April 11th, you tell a lady here that zoning problems give you a phone call. That's not the procedure. Zoning violations have to be in writing, submitted to your codes, not the supervisor cashing. All right? It would be unjust and not responsible for the town to approve. Okay, I already read that. Listen, my background is 10 years flying Air Force jets. Then I was an airport, what do you want to call it, airline?
Sir, you're at 5 minutes and I gave you an afforded opportunity
Thank you,
beyond that.
sir.
Thank you.
Integrity counts around here. Stick to it.
Is there anyone else
Here's my signed copy, miss,
seeking the floor?
for the record.
Yes.
Come on.
I'm Marcia Fleury DeSorsi, and I reside at 3rd Linda Lane. I've spoken here a few times already. One thing I'd like to say is I looked into purchasing the land on my property so that I could prevent industrial being there. And not only is that pending, but the other lots are pending. And I don't know that they would be pending already if this process of residential, of industrial wasn't going on. So that tells me that Schluter's has already approached them, they're pending, waiting for you to turn it industrial. I have a real problem, ethical problem with that. I'm an ethical person, and I certainly hope that you are ethical as well, because it affects not only my life, but the people on my street. I would have bought that property. If other people could have helped me, they would have, but if I had to do it alone, I would have. My husband and I would do that to prevent that industry being right in our backyard. So that's the first thing. And just the second thing, well, I'm emotional, so I probably just lost my train of thought. Oh, we will be consulting an attorney to make sure these steps have been appropriate, and if they are not, then we will proceed. Again, it's because this is a town, you know, and this is a little bit of politics, but all the way up through our country, there's a lot of unethical things going on for the better of people with more money, and industry taking over, and housing not available because of corporations that have bought out housing in cities and then rent them themselves. So there's a lot of issues in our country, and it comes down to the smallest place, and that's town first, and residents, and what you value, residents over companies coming in and using their money to buy out areas that aren't going to benefit, and actually cause problems. If it just benefited, fine, but it's causing problems, it will cause problems, and if it becomes industrial, then Schluters can get there and do whatever they want. They can turn it into a cement place, a dusting place, they can do this, they can do that, and we don't know the impact that that's going to have on us. And you can say that there's going to be steps to look into that, but my son-in-law is in a huge corporation, and I know what they're capable of doing and how they work. So I know that Schluters is going to get what they want and do what they want if this goes through and becomes industrial. So just to reiterate, we will be looking into it to get some guidance from an attorney to see if the steps have been followed correctly, and if they have not, then we will proceed in the best way that we can. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Is there anyone else seeking to speak from the floor? Is there anyone else seeking to speak from the floor? Is there anyone else? So I do it 3 times. I want to afford people the opportunity.
So Ron Santor, 84 Salmon River Road, been here before. I just was sitting there tonight, and a couple of things, and that's why I couldn't decide whether to come up here. But I find it interesting, not any of you live within, I'll go 8 miles of that area. So you don't really know what we have there for property. The other thing, Mr. Cashman, you were quoted in the paper, I think in that Sun News, sometime this month or the first part of next month, you're hosting a seminar, which I thought was odd, that you gotta pay $25 to go to, at the West Side Ballroom, I believe, about housing. And everybody talks about housing. Governor Hochul, today, housing, okay? The last thing, yesterday, I happened to have the good fortune of being at a meeting with a lady that I believe is pretty high up in economic development here in Clinton County. And she said that she knew, I'm not sure how she knew, but she said she knew that I was upset about Schluter, and she did not deny that Schluter was going there. And I don't think that it can be denied. She said it was a good thing. She knew it was going to hurt my property, but she did say it was a good thing for the area. Well, I don't know why they don't go to the airport. We just went over there and turned around before we came here. They're building a roundabout there. If you haven't been, go take a look at that. Somebody's going to go there. And basically that, I guess that's the way I feel. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Is there anyone else seeking to comment from the floor? Is there anyone else speaking to comment from the floor? Is there anyone else seeking to comment from the floor? The comment period is closed. I will only provide one point of clarity, Ron, because I do want you to know this. The registration fee is covering lunch.
Oh, okay, good.
For individuals. So I'm not going to get back and forth. I understand your sentiment, but I just wanted to provide that from clarity. People are coming from around the North Country, and it's covering lunch. So with that, we will advance to Resolution 107, the abstract.
Resolved that the abstract of audited claims number 5A-24 for $769,555.52. Abstract 5A-24 prepays for the amount of $213,491.79 be received as reviewed by the audit committee, and the supervisor is hereby authorized to pay said abstract.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Hebert. Is there a second?
Second.
Isabella, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution carries. Resolution 108, the monthly department reports.
Resolved to receive and place on file monthly department head reports from the following departments for March of 2024: Buildings and Grounds, Codes and Zoning, Dog Control Officer, Highway Superintendent, Parks and Recreation, Supervisor's Financial Report, the Town Clerk, Water, Wastewater, and for April of 2024, Planning and Community Development.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Seconded.
Hebert. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution carries. Resolution 109, AEDA proposal Town Hall vestibule accessibility improvements design phase.
Whereas the Town of Plattsburgh Town Hall is an important public facility, asset, and resource, and whereas the Town of Plattsburgh Town Hall facility access is in need of assessment and design for possible upgrades, and whereas the Town of Plattsburgh has a 2-year term contract with AEDA located at 1246 State Route 3, Plattsburgh, New York, whereas AEDA has provided an adequate scope of services and lump sum quote for approximately $29,400, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board does hereby accept the proposal and scope of services as submitted by AEDA in the letter dated March 1st of 2024. It is further resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to execute the agreements for said Town Hall vestibules accessibility improvements, and be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager and the planning department head.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Hebert, is there a second?
Second.
Wood, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor please say aye. Resolution carries. Resolution 110, request to purchase Modine High Efficiency Natural Gas Heater for Town of Plattsburgh.
Whereas the Town of Plattsburgh Buildings and Grounds Superintendent Mike Drew has requested to purchase a Modine High Efficiency Natural Gas Heater to replace an existing shop heater in the Highway Department, and whereas 3 quotes have been obtained and reviewed, and it is of the recommendation of Mr. Drew to purchase the heater from Howard Supply of Plattsburgh, New York, in the amount totaling $4,455.37 to include shipping. Therefore be it resolved that the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board does hereby authorize the purchase of the said Modine High Efficiency Natural Gas Heater, and be it further resolved that payment for said purchase be made payable from the buildings repairs and maintenance account as stated here, and a copy of this resolution be given to the Superintendent of Buildings and Grounds and Finance Manager.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Second.
Isabella, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor please say aye. Resolution carries. Resolution 111, temporary seasonal hire for recreation assistant in the recreation department.
Whereas there is a planned need for a temporary position, recreation assistant, in the Town of Plattsburgh Parks and Recreation Department. And whereas the supervisor has received a letter dated April 18th of 2024 from Aaron Fancorn, Youth Services and Recreation Director, requesting to hire a recreation assistant position. And whereas Jillian Meyer, at $15 an hour, will be appointed to said position when all employment verification and eligibility provisions have been satisfied. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign all necessary documents to hire seasonal temporary help in the Parks and Recreation Department, and a certified copy of this resolution be given to the Finance Manager, the Youth Director, and the Clinton County Civil Service Department personnel for their final approval and filing, and a copy placed in her personnel file.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Wood, is there a second?
Second.
So, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor please say aye. Resolution carries. Resolution 112, Park Memorial Donation for Katyville Recreation Park.
Whereas resolution number 024-051 adopted the Town of Plattsburgh Park Memorial Policy establishing standards and guidelines for the public to commemorate the loss of a friend or loved one for the memorial in one of the Town of Plattsburgh parks. And whereas an application has been submitted for memorial donation and Adirondack bench to be placed at Katyville Recreation Park, and whereas the memorial donation application has been reviewed by the Town of Plattsburgh Parks and Recreation Department, Therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Plattsburgh has reviewed said memorial donation application and does hereby authorize said donation of an Adirondack bench for Katyville Recreation Park. Be it further resolved that per the town of Plattsburgh Park Memorial Policy, the applicant is responsible for the cost of the park accessory, plaque, and installation fees. Once payment is made by the applicant, Ms. Pangborn is authorized to make said purchase and coordinate installation of said materials for the memorial donation. It is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Ms. Erin Pangborn, Youth Service and Recreation Director.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Second.
Wood. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution carries. I want to provide a statement before this resolution, again, because of the mechanics of this. I just want to cover some things as it relates to some items. The purpose of our next agenda item tonight is for consideration of a proposed zoning map amendments of the 4 contiguous parcels that lie between Route 22, Salmon River Road, and Superior Drive. The parcel IDs as follows: 245 period dash 4 dash 22 period 11, 245 period dash 4 dash 40.1, and 245 period dash 4 dash 41, and 245 period dash 4 dash 16 period 2. 3 of the 4 parcels are currently zoned R2 residential, and 1 parcel is currently zoned NC neighborhood commercial. The proposed zoning map amendment would change the zoning district of these 4 parcels from R2 residential to I industrial. A public informational meeting was held at 6 p.m. on March 14th, and during the regularly scheduled meeting of the town board, at the time, attendees were afforded the opportunity to ask questions and review and receive answers regarding the proposed amendments. A formal public hearing was held on April 11, 2024. Written comments that were submitted for the record were read aloud at the end of the hearing. Any questions related to the proposed zoning map amendments were directed to the Planning and Community Development Department. A negative declaration of environmental significance for the zoning amendment was issued on April 18, 2024 by the Town Board Resolution 024-106. To be clear, no development project has been formally proposed or submitted for review at the locations considered for rezoning. Any further proposed development projects at this location would require a complete site plan and environmental review by the planning board, which would also include public notices and meetings. Only the merit of the map amendment are under consideration with this resolution. At this time, I would ask the clerk to read Resolution 113, the zoning map amendment for 2024.
Whereas after thorough consideration and deliberation, the town board proposes to make the following amendment to the town zoning map. The zoning map amendment for portions of parcels 245-4-22-11, 245-4-40.1, and 245-4-41, and 245-4-16.2, located on Route 22, Salmon River Road and Superior Drive, changing the existing zoning district of said parcels from residential R2 to I asterisk, as depicted on the draft map titled Parcels 245-4-22.11 and 245-4-40.1 and 245-4-41 and 245-4-16.2, to be considered for zone change from R2 to I asterisk. Whereas at its regularly scheduled meeting on March 16th of 2024, the town board of the town of Plattsburgh received and placed on file a zoning map amendment petition from Schluter Systems Inc. requesting an amendment of the existing zone classification of the previously said parcels from residential R2 to industrial I, the zoning amendment. And whereas pursuant to Article 13, Section 13.3 of the Town of Plattsburgh zoning ordinance, all proposed zoning amendments originating by petition or by motion shall be referred to the Town of Plattsburgh Planning Board for a report and recommendation thereon. And whereas the planning board did submit its report to the town board within 45 days of receipt of such referral in accordance with provisions of said zoning ordinance, and whereas the town board considered the zoning amendment and the recommendations contained in the report of the planning board and found merit in the consideration of the zoning map amendment. And whereas pursuant to Article 17, Section 17.4 of the town zoning ordinance and Section 264 and 265 of New York Town Law, shall refer a full statement of the zoning amendment and map to the Clinton County Planning Board. Whereas the Clinton County Planning Board was provided a copy of the proposed zoning map amendment and findings and recommendations report of the Planning Board and did, by a 7-0 vote on April 3rd of 2024, approve the General Municipal Law, Section 239M, referral number 24-24 without comment. And whereas the town board duly called for a public hearing for the consideration of the aforesaid mentioned amendment, and gave due notice thereof as required by law. And whereas said public hearing was held by this town board at the town hall at 151 Banker Road, Plattsburgh, New York, on March 11th of 2024 at 6:05 p.m., at which time the proposed zoning ordinance amendment and seeker materials were available. Whereas the town board has previously declared the zoning map amendments to be a type 1 action and a coordinated review was conducted, and whereas the town board via resolution number 24-106 issued a negative declaration of environmental significance under seeker for the proposed zoning map amendment listed above. And whereas after review and discussion of the following, the planning board report and recommendations dated April 18th of 2023, the review of part 1 and the completion of parts 2 and 3 of the EAF long form hearing seeker documentation, comments made at the public hearing on March 11th of 2024, written public comments submitted to the town in absentia, staff review and recommendation dated April 16th of 2024, negative declaration of environmental significance dated April 18th of 2024, and review of other related materials. It is in the opinion of the members of the town board that the best interests of the town of Plattsburgh will be served by the adoption of certain said amendments, and the proposed amendments are in conformance with the town's master plan for the reasons set forth. Since the 2010 comprehensive plan recommended that the town should reduce industrial zone land in selected areas and carefully review its other industrial areas for potential rezoning, the town has reduced the number of industrial zone acres by approximately 600. These former industrial zone properties were primarily rezoned to residential and commercial uses. It is further down zoned approximately 1,900 acres of AP Airport, AB-1 Air Base, and AB-2 Air Base to mixed-use districts of SD, T6, MDR, and NC. Approximately 250 acres was rezoned LC, Land Conservation District, and another 40 to R1 residential. The 2013 Economic Development Strategic Plan Goal 1 recommends that the town develop a business-friendly environment to retain and expand the town's tax base and provide existing and future residents with a wide range of business, employment, and career opportunities. Section 1.1 of the 2010 Town Comprehensive Plan states a comprehensive plan is a policy guide that sets forth directions for the future of a community. It is not a law or regulation, rather it is a blueprint to help guide the future. Comprehensive plans are living documents intended to be updated over time as a community changes. The town has accomplished goals within 19 of the 21 comprehensive plan recommendations from 2010 and intends to update the document in 2025 to reflect the changing goals, character, and needs of the town of Plattsburgh. For these reasons, the town board finds the consideration of these zoning amendments to reflect the purpose and intent of the collective town master plan. Now therefore be it resolved that the zoning map of the town of Plattsburgh be amended as follows. Zoning map amendment for portions of parcel 245.4-22.11 and 245.4-40.1 and 245.4-41 and 245.4-16.2 located on Route 22, Salmon River Road and Superior Drive, changing the existing zoning district of said parcels from residential R2 to I*, as depicted on the draft map titled Parcels 245.4-22.11, 245.4-40.1, 245.4-41, and 245.4-16.2 to be considered for zone change from R2 to I*, and a 100-foot buffer of R2 zone shall remain along the north, south, and west boundaries, as shown on the aforementioned map. And the specific proposed area of I industrial will be described as I asterisk and will not include concrete and asphalt manufacturing in the list of allowed uses. And be it further resolved that said amendments be entered in the minutes of the meeting of the town board of the town of Plattsburgh held on the second day of May of 2024. Be it further resolved in accordance with section 264 and 265 of town law, a copy, summary, or abstract of the amendments exclusive of any map shall be published in the Press Republican, a newspaper published in the town, and that affidavits of publication thereof shall be later be filed with the town clerk. Be it further resolved that the amendment shall be effective as provided by and in accordance with section 265 of the town law. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the town clerk, the zoning department, and the planning department.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Hebert, is there a second?
Second.
Isabella. Before I open for discussion, I do want to provide two things. The corrective action of the dates for the public hearing will be corrected there in the public session where appropriate. I also want to provide clarity before the vote this evening. Although the proposed, statement on Article 17, Section 17.6b, although the proposed map amendments are consistent with the recommendation of the town planning board and the Clinton County Planning Board and did unanimously approve the proposed zoning amendments, and the town board has issued a negative declaration of environmental significance for the action, there has been significant public comment both in support and in opposition for both map amendments. The town board has received a petition in protest of the aforementioned amendments that requires action by the town board in accordance with Article 17, Section 17.6 of the town ordinance. The town board may approve any such amendment by a majority vote of said board, except that a favorable vote of at least 4 members of the town board, i.e. majority, plus 1 shall be required if A, the action being taken is contrary to the advisory recommendation received from the town planning board or from the county planning board under the provisions of section 239M of general municipal law, and or B, in accordance with the provisions of section 265 of New York State Town Law, a protest petition against such amendments has been duly signed by the owners of at least 20% of the land area included in such proposed change, or that immediately adjacent extending to 100 feet therefrom or directly opposite. Such a protest has been submitted to the town board. Therefore, a favorable vote of at least 4 members of the town board, a majority plus 1, shall be required for the affirmed proposed zoning map. The reason I wanted to read that clarity is there is full recognition by this board what was submitted, okay? I want people to understand that, particularly the board tonight. I want to give them a moment to be thinking, and we'll go into a discussion if anybody has anything to discuss, and then we'll move forward with a roll call vote as well. I just want the public to understand the process. It's only fair to you folks as well, okay? Is there any discussion on the floor?
On page 3, says that the specific proposed area of I industrial described as I asterisk, and it says it does not include concrete and asphalt manufacturing and the list of allowed uses. Were we not discussing mining?
That is based upon what the recommendation is there, what you have in front of you.
I thought it included mining.
That's what you have in front of you.
That should be on the list of industrial uses, Tom.
That is on the, yes, industrial use.
Is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion?
I like to move that we add to this particular sentence that it would not be
in mind that some mining regulations fall within the scope of the DEC, and there's regulations there, so I just want that to be identified as well. So I'll use the mine over, I want to call its old name, off of Quarry Road. Some of the regulations will fall under, yeah, Upstone will fall under some of that. So just, I want that to be understood, so. So you're proposing, is there support, objection, is there a, are you making that motion, Tom?
I'll make the motion.
I'll support that.
So your motion is to add mining
As a non-allowed use.
to the asterisk. Correct?
Yes.
I want to make sure that I'm understanding what your request is. So Tom, what is the amendment to include adding mining to the asterisk? Is there a second to that amendment?
Seconded.
Ebert? So it is now inclusive of full resolution with the amendment to include, with the asterisk section to include mining as the additional items. Is there any further?
Does not have to be voted on.
Yeah, I just want people to understand it.
Okay.
Everyone in support of, I'm gonna do a roll call for the support of the amendment. Tom?
Yes.
Barb?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
And I am a yes for the amendment. So back to the total resolution. Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, I would ask the clerk to call the roll, and just to be clear, this is on the entire resolution to be inclusive of an amendment that was added to add to the asterisk I, mining. Can I get a roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Abstain?
Dana Isabella,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes. Resolution does carry. Knowing of the need to go into an executive session tonight due to the work history of 3 individuals, is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Second.
Isabella, can I get a roll call, please?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Dana Isabella,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, we will enter executive session at 6:38, no formal action to follow.